Boker Tov Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Vladimir Putin has won the presidential election for another 6 years. He was asked by reporters as soon as he gave his acceptance speech late last night whether or not he would actually run until 2030. President Putin said he's not going to make any constitutional changes that would allow him for a fifth term. And he said also he didn't want to run for president being 100 years of age. But nonetheless, he was asked about the Skripal case. And that, in fact, was the very first thing that reporters were asking him, what his opinion was about the Skripal case, the double agent in Britain that was poisoned using the Novichok nerve agent gas there. And Putin answered and responded that the Russians had actually, under the watchful eye of the organizations that were overseeing the destruction of chemical weapons, destroyed their chemical weapons stockpile. He did note that, however, Western partners did not do the same. They continue to use or develop chemical weapons, and he said Russia no longer has the chemical weapons. Of course, that's President Putin and what he says there. We don't know this for sure, and as I've always said, there is a possibility that Russia could have done this themselves. But the likelihood is very low, given the fact that we know already the sarin gas attacks that have happened both in 2013 as well as 2017 were clearly, the evidence showed that there were CIA and Turkish involvement along with ISIS that was doing these, and it gives more probability that there is a very sinister agenda to try to justify a war against Russia. That being said, we also know that the United States, the CIA, had control over the chemical weapons that was being used from Uzbekistan after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the U.S. had the control of this since 1999 under the control of the CIA. Going into other news as well, and we're just kind of doing an overview right now, friends. Russian General Staff's main operations department, Colonel General Rutskoy, says the U.S. is preparing to strike Syria. We see signs that the U.S. is readying strikes on Syrian government forces as carrier strike groups have been deployed in the Mediterranean. And we mentioned this the other day already, and we are watching to see how this is going to develop. There are more and more gas attacks happening in East Ghouta, and every time we see this happen, it is just so obvious that it's definitely not the Syrian government, because the Syrian government is making headway on driving out all of the jihadists that are in that area. They've been also getting out the civilians, and there is no reason why the Syrian government would need to resort to a chemical weapons attack to begin with. Moving on over to Israel, very troubling article here that came out on Arutz Shiva today. This, of course, will be March 19th, 2018. It says French consulate officials smuggled weapons to Judea and Samaria using an actual French vehicle there to get those in there. Said Israeli authorities say 2 employees of the French consulate in Jerusalem worked with an armed smuggling ring in Judea and Samaria and Jerusalem to sneak weapons out of Hamas-ruled Gaza Strip. It was revealed that a French national, this was on Sunday, employed by a consulate and been arrested several weeks ago for serious security issues, sources close to the case said. The French national, a man in his 20s, is due to appear before the court in southern Israel on Monday, they said. Ahead of the man's court appearance, officials from Israel's Shin Bet Internal Security Agency revealed that the suspect, Romain Franck, had been involved with a smuggling ring which included Arab residents of Judea and Samaria and Jerusalem. Very troubling information. Also, we already know about the attacks there, the stabbing that took place just the other day of a security official there in the old city of Jerusalem. There is in critical condition, and I thought I might be able to see that article up here somewhere. Don't see it right offhand, but there was a security man that was stabbed in a terrorist attack inside the old city, though, that is in very critical condition there. Very serious situation inside of Israel. It seems that the Intifada is once again raging in the country with all of the talk of moving the embassy, the U.S. embassy there to Jerusalem, which we believe is a New World Order move. So the Palestinians that are all upset and up on arms about this, I think you're missing a bigger picture. This is a New World Order move. They are going to put the old city under a United Nations control, and the Vatican will get hegemony over that old city. Also, we have word coming out, India threats to invade Pakistan in a shock warning as World War III fears escalate. Thank Dr. Rosa for sharing this with us. India has threatened to invade Pakistan in a dramatic rise in rhetoric. The two countries continue in a vicious border dispute. You know, both these countries are nuclear armed as well, which makes it even more of a serious situation there in the region. And as you can see here on your map, we have Pakistan right there. Kashmir is always the big contended area there where the India and the Pakistanis are always fighting over that portion of the border. But anyway, pray for the peace for these people that are living in these areas here, both India, Pakistan. It is not going to go good if fighting breaks out there. And I wouldn't doubt that it breaks out there if we end up with a major war in Syria, especially if Russia and the United States go at it head-to-head. It will definitely cause a ripple effect all across the globe. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Shalom.